Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Beguiled by Books. Today, I've got 6 short and unusual books for you to read. Let's get started. I recently went through what I called my weird girl fiction era, and I read quite a few books that were very unusual, very different, had unique stories, not common tropes that I would say. Maybe they are, but very different for me. I tend to be a fantasy and a very much a nonfiction reader, so these books were, again, unusual. They also all happen to be fairly short, so they make for a good way to up your reading goals if you track books that you read in a given time frame. The first book is called The Forest Brims Over. I've talked about this before, and it's a really unique book, originally written in Japanese and then recently translated into English. And it's about a woman who is the muse for her husband, who is a writer, but the way he portrays her, it's not always positive. And what happens when she finally blossoms? It's a really interesting story. Very cool if you know a little bit about Japanese culture and kind of Japanese gender dynamics within the culture. It's very, very interesting, beautifully written, gorgeous prose, and also very short, packs a punch and a few number of pages. The next book that I would recommend is Our Wives Under the Sea. I am consistently recommending this book because it's short, it's powerful, it's beautiful, it's really interesting, kind of creepy, has a horror-esque element, and it's just a beautiful love story. So very unusual how that love story plays out given the events of the book, but absolutely stunning. Highly recommend it for anybody. The next unusual book that I read is called Poor Dear. And I'm still processing this book. I read it several months ago and still processing what it was about. Very interesting time progression. The story starts when the character is 4 years old and then moves into adulthood and kind of the singular traumatic event that caused the character's life to develop the way that it did and how that character ended up at the end. Very weird, very different. Yeah, just a cool, weird book that you should read if you're interested in something short and unusual and quirky. The next book clocks in at right around 100 pages, but does pack quite a punch. It's called My Death. And this book came recommended by my local bookseller. Didn't know what to expect when I read it. And it's weird, and I liked it. It is someone who's doing a biography of an artist, and it really looks at what happens when we admire someone's work so dearly and how we can internalize that with also a little bit of a science fiction element in there. Very cool story. I kind of figured it out. The twist was not as like, oh my God, as I expected it to be, but it was still a really cool story. So I definitely would like to recommend that to you. Another short and unusual book is called This Is How You Lose the Time War. Again, this is like Our Wives Under the Sea. I tend to recommend this one a lot because it's really different. 2 time traveling time agents are working against one another. And then what happens when they start sending letters and develop a relationship? Really interesting kind of enemies to lovers through a science fiction time traveling lens. And again, it's short, it's a great beach read. You can easily get through it and you'll enjoy it. It's really cool. I think a lot of different types of people, a lot of different types of readers will enjoy this book. The last book I can recommend is called Ghost Wall. Again, this is a really short book, and it seems like it could have happened, which I really like. It's got a very realistic element, but it's told in such an unusual way that you're kind of trying to put the pieces together throughout the story. And it wraps up really quickly. It's a short, square little novel. If you have a physical copy, I'm sure it's super short on Kindle or e-reader, but it is definitely makes you wonder what's going to happen next throughout the entire book. And then it ends and you're left there with the book. Really cool, unusual novel. And again, super short, very lightweight, easy to pack with you on a trip and just knock it out in one quick sitting. What are some other short and unusual books or short or unusual books that you've read that I should know about? I'm always looking to know. Please drop a comment below. And as always, don't forget to like this video and subscribe if you haven't already. Have a wonderful day.